This is the number one thing I learned when I trained at his 956 facility, which is Masterpool's facility. This is how Ty Masterpool rides, and I learned this from his dad, Jerry Masterpool. It was the main thing I learned, and it's been a game changer for my riding. If you don't know me, I'm Logan Lesser, a national motocross racer, having won over 15 state championships and an amateur national championship. I'm an extreme sports athlete and ran a marketing agency for over 4 years, growing it to $30,000 a month. And while doing so, was able to travel the world living in Cape Town, South Africa, part-time throughout the past few years. And I've spent nearly $50,000 on mentors, coaches, courses, and education, learning from the best of the best in business, fitness, mindset, racing, and so on. Now I'm sharing what I've learned and growing my community, the Champion Protocol, linked in the description below. By the way, if you want to apply to train with me online or even just join my online community, the link to that is in the description below. But with that being said, the main thing that I learned from Jerry Masterpool and what he drilled into our minds when we trained there was turning by leaning the bike. And what I'm referring to is not turning the bars when you're turning. Now, obviously, you still gotta turn the bars a little bit, but for the most part, keeping the bars straight and literally just turning by leaning the bike. And there's so many benefits to doing this, but immediately, like, it's still something I work on to this day. And I've mentioned it in numerous videos, but like, the pros never stop doing the basics. So I always am working on the basic stuff, you know, like standing on the balls of my feet, making sure I'm in the right form with the right technique, doing things like turning by leaning the bike and all that sort of stuff. Now, I'll give you some prime examples of like when leaning or turning the bike by leaning is like a game changer, and why, like, and it's not just something you want to do sometimes, it's literally a way of riding, period. Like regardless of the track condition. I'll give you some examples. So today's a perfect example because I'm at Thunder Valley right now, and it's much drier. The track is pretty flat, so it's pretty slick because it's dry. And also, like, whenever they're putting water down, it just makes it kind of like ice because it's flat, and obviously they're watering it, so it just makes it super, super slick. But anyway, basically, if you know Thunder Valley, you'll probably know the corner I'm talking about. But you go up the main, like, uphill, just super long uphill after the road jump. You get to the very top, and then you drop down and come down the hill into this decently tight left-hand corner before coming back up. And that particular corner, the inside line, is pretty good, but it's really soft, and it's like a small berm. Like, it's not a very like tall berm, it's just very small, and it's not even like a rut because it's super soft, and it's almost like kind of like dust almost, but super soft. And it's also a really tight, I'm just gonna call it rut. It's a really tight rut. Like, it doesn't really take you from like outside all the way around the corner. It's literally kind of like this. So you gotta turn pretty tight. And believe it or not, the way to turn tight, which is actually another benefit of leaning, the way to turn tighter is actually by turning by leaning the bike. It's not by turning the bars, which might sound surprising, but what I'm about to mention will make it make more sense. So for that particular corner, I'm able to come in pretty hot into the corner and seriously carry my momentum all the way through it and really barely let off the gas, and overall just carry my momentum and not kind of come to a stop, turn, and then start going again. And here's the thing. So if I was to come into that corner really hot and I turned by turning the bars, what would most likely happen is that I come into it, I turn the bars, I'm on the front brake, and literally my wheel would be like this coming into the rut. Like, it would be sideways instead of straight, and basically it would almost just push the berm out, and I'd basically just plow right through the berm and either completely blow it out, and obviously that'd be slow because then I'd mess up and go to the outside, or I would end up actually washing out my front end because it would push through the berm. Whereas, believe it or not, by coming in, and I definitely come in more from the outside, so I kind of open up the corner and I come in like this instead of coming at it straight and then turning super tight. So I come in from, you know, a decent angle on the outside, and I'm coming in, obviously turning. And when I lean the bike, instead, it literally comes into the corner, and it basically kind of just plants the bike into it and carries the momentum going through it, and it doesn't plow right through the corner. I'm not really sure how to explain it exactly, but I think I explained, like, when you turn the bars, it'll kind of just push through the berm and everything. That's basically what I'm saying, is that when you lean the bike, it's not going to do that nearly as much. And by leaning the bike, what I'm able to do is when I come into that, if I need to hit that and turn tight because maybe it's starting to get blown out or whatever, if I lean over further, then I'll actually be able to take a really, really tight turn. So that's one example. Another example is like when the track is slicker and say like some of the stuff is flatter, such as the turns and everything, you actually don't want to turn by turning the bars. You want to turn by leaning, because if you turn the bars, once again, you're going to be getting on the front brake in this slick, dry corner or wet corner. And when you get on the front brake and turn the bars, what's going to happen is your wheel's going to start just pushing out, and that's where you're going to most likely end up either just messing up or, worst case scenario, going down because you wash out the front end. So whereas if you lean, the bike is you're gonna be able to carry your momentum, and the bike is gonna plant into the ground much better with a lot more grip and everything, and you're gonna be able to just roll through it way better. But aside from that, like even just everywhere, like if you're going through say like you're going through rollers, or just like a really rough sweeper or corner, such as at Loretta Lynn, that long, I don't know what the name of that section is, but the long sand sweeper that gets super gnarly rough, like you wouldn't want the bike straight up and then you turning the bars going through it in order to turn through it, because that's where, like, if your front wheel hits it wrong or whatever, then it's gonna dive right through the berm, kind of like I mentioned before. Whereas if you're just leaning the bike, it's just gonna be gliding through it way smoother. So anyway, I don't really know how else to explain it. Even in ruts and stuff, like literally when you're riding through ruts, you want to lean through them, not turn the bars and everything. And just trust me, like try turning by leaning a lot more versus turning the bars, and you'll notice a massive difference. So it's much smoother, and you're actually going to be able to take your corners much tighter. So by leaning, like it's super smooth. It's a game changer. So yeah, just go ahead and try it. I guarantee that you're going to be like, whoa, this is really awesome. But anyway, if you like that, if you want to train with me once again, or just join my online community, the link to that's in the description below, so feel free to check it out. If you want more videos like this, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.